Hey, Pipe fans, welcome back to Carlo Perusa MMA. I'm Carlo Perusa, and I am with top MMA heavyweight prospect. He is Mr. Joel Faglier. He is in action next Saturday, going to be fighting in his hometown, Augusta, Georgia, making that pro debut, taking on Brock Walker in a Muay Thai fight. Joel, we're only about 10 days out from the contest. Very highly anticipated pro debut from you. Unfortunately, not MMA. Couldn't get the MMA stuff to work. So we're going to try the Muay Thai out. You excited?
Yeah, absolutely. Extremely excited. Feel really blessed. And uh, obviously, we wanted to do MMA. That was ideal. But you know, my dad raised me to be a fighter. To pick up, answer the call, no matter what it is, no matter what style. So ready to compete and whatever. So the opportunity came across to do Muay Thai. Thankfully, I've had the opportunity to do Muay Thai already in my career, so it was a clean thing to go ahead and jump right into it.
For you, ever since you were born, fighting and mixed martial arts has been around. I'm sure your dad, mixed martial artist, your brother's a professional mixed martial artist. You're now embarking the professional journey. Since a young age, did you kind of know that you want to be in the fight game?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the biggest thing for me is, growing up, a lot of kids get to watch um, their favorite athletes on TV. They get to watch their heroes very far off in, let's say, the NBA or the NFL or whatever it is, in those professional sports. But for me, my favorite athlete, my favorite fighter was in the house with me. My brother Jason, went out and fought and racked up a phenomenal amateur career and has moved on and been a great professional as well. And that's I've known my whole life that I wanted to be a fighter. Uh, Watching my dad compete, watching my dad teach, I've never wanted to be anything else. So it's kind of surreal for me to be at this point in my life where I'm actually making that step as a professional. Because I remember being in elementary school writing down, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm writing down be a UFC fighter or a pro fighter or something like that, and teachers telling me you have to write down something realistic. You have to write down something that's real and obtainable. And to me, it was always obtainable because it was done before me. My name's already been in those lights, and it's not from any work of my own. It's from my dad and my brother. Putting themselves out there and creating a reputation. And I'm just so thankful that I get to be a part of that now. Yeah, I stand on the shoulders of giants for sure, but I'm so extremely blessed to finally make that walk and to add into the reputation now.
If anyone follows regional mixed martial arts within the Georgia and South Carolina area, I mean, your gym comes up and it comes up. You guys are very dominant. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. You have one guy, Malcolm Wellmaker. He's probably about to go to the UFC, fighting in the Contender Series. Quincy is a top amateur that's probably going to turn pro in the very near future, if I would have to guess, probably within the year. You guys like Terrence, Andrew Moore, Amanda, Kristen. I mean, we can go on and on here. You're the number one heavyweight in the continent, prospect wise. Very highly anticipated pro debut here. But one thing that I really noticed right away is the family style environment that your gym offers. You guys are brothers and sisters. I mean, when you're not fighting, you're supporting your teammates. How important is that culture for having success in mixed martial arts, do you feel?
Um, yeah, it's it's huge. My father preaches to us about having a culture of champions, and the main thing he said was to not create a culture of carelessness. And with carelessness comes with selfishness, and there's just none of that in the gym. Um, Everybody that you named off are 100% been pouring into my camp and pouring into me and making me better and making me sharper as an athlete. And the only thing that they ask is for me to do the very same thing for them. So I'm extremely proud of everyone. Like you said, you're mentioning champions. Malcolm. is for sure going to be in the UFC. I have no doubt in my mind that he'll execute and and get that contract, and do it in a dominant fashion. I know Quincy will be right along here soon, making that professional walk. Uh, and everybody that you named, Amanda, Kirsten, Terrence, Andrew, future champions. There's even more on this card like Axel and Riley and you know guys that are starting their journeys now and will be champions here soon. And I think the best thing that I could really say about it is that we're not. I don't feel as if I'm special. I know that the people that I train with and that are in that gym are special. But I don't feel as if I'm special. I feel as if I'm a product of a very good environment and a very good coaching staff, and a dad that cared, a brother that cared, and teammates that care more about me than they do themselves. And that's truly where the success of the gym comes from. Not anybody being more important than anybody else. Malcolm's Contender Series fight is one of the biggest ones we've ever had in the gym by far, but it doesn't take precedence over someone's amateur debut. He doesn't act that way. We don't act that way as a team. My pro debut doesn't take precedence over anyone's first fight debut. And I'm just very thankful to be raised.
I think it's kind of hard to believe. Is this going to be your first time fighting Conflict MMA?
Oh no, I debuted for Conflict years ago. Me and Malcolm debuted on the same Jason headline, and also my sister actually debuted on the card as well. So um, I fought in Augusta with Conflict before, but it was a long time ago, man. I was like 15, 16 years old. Took my first kickboxing fight, so it's been a long time coming to get back in the cage in Augusta.
No, your brother was telling me he's never seen a fighter where guys just don't want to fight him. I mean, a lot of guys pass on you. And obviously, you're young, you're 22 years old. You want to start the journey, you want to get to the big shows. Is that frustrating at all when you keep getting passed on, or do you take that as a compliment, or do you not even really care?
One thing to point out, my brother's being humble. um, uh, People pass on me a lot because our names are attached together. I watched him get guys that are supposed to fight him and fight him for titles, and they pass on him, and then another guy will pass on him, and then them two will fight, and they'll fight for a title. So my brother, my brother created a good reputation for us, and so did my dad, and I'm very thankful to be a part of that. And at times it can be frustrating when I'm being short sighted. I do get frustrated at times, but I really just be thankful and enjoy the ride. There's plenty of hard fights out there, plenty of guys that are gonna answer the call, be right there and test me. And those are the guys that we're looking for.
So 8-0 as an amateur, that's what at least is on Topology. Why did you feel like right now is the time to turn pro?
Um, Definitely wasn't a decision of my own. I leave all that decision making up to my brother and my dad. They make those decisions, and I follow them wholeheartedly. Whatever they tell me to do, I'll do it. Um, I think at this point in time, uh, we had got we wanted our amateur career uh, with 8 fights as an MMA fighter, and then 4 as a kickboxer. So we got a fair amount of experience, and we got to a point where, like you've kind of already said it's hard to get fights. It was hard to get fights regionally, hard to get fights in general. So it was time. They felt like it was time to move up to the professional ranks.
When you look at your record, one thing that really sets you apart is probably the reason for your success is the well-rounded that you are. You finish guys on the floor, you finish guys with various different chokes. You also have that power. You also can end guys with the kill shot. Being a well-rounded mixed martial artist, is that something that's been preached to you at day pretty much by day one?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. My dad talks about The main thing is just being out of balance. This walk that we take as fighters or as a mental, physical, and spiritual walk, and anything that is out of balance, anything that is weaker than the other, that's the one that's going to drag you down. So this and the same thing applies to your techniques. If you're a very strong striker but you can't keep it on the feet, you kind of put yourself in a position where you can't succeed. So the biggest thing that was preached to me is finding balance in there, and then I think a big thing for it is I love the game. I love the sport. I love jujitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, MMA itself. I love it all. So it doesn't feel like a tax to train all of it. It doesn't feel like a frustration to try to keep the fight at a certain spot. I'm very happy wherever it goes.
A lot of people watch mixed martial arts in this day and age. I mean, it's something that's so culturally accepted. I mean, you have the UFC, you have the PFL, you have bare knuckle, you have all these big shows. But I feel like a lot of people don't understand the sacrifices needed to be a mixed martial artist, especially at the regional level. As you know, from seeing Malcolm, from seeing your brother, they're not making millions of dollars quite yet. They have jobs, they have full time jobs. Your brother has kids, your brother has a wife. There's a lot of sacrifice being made just to be able to train, just to be able to compete. How do you get through those sacrifices and how do you stay motivated?
The one thing is, like you said, you get to see it. You get to see. Uh, I see my dad work and sacrifice just to make sure I can get in there and train like I want to. See my brother, you know, day in day out and balance being a husband and being a father and being a coach and alongside being an athlete. Um, those are just things that motivate me. But also, like you said, is as tough as it may get, as hard as it may get for me at times, trying to be an athlete and chase a dream. I'm I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky to be in this position of chasing a dream and chasing, you know, being at the highest level of a professional sport. So many people never get those chances. So all the sacrifice, all the grit, all the hard times, yeah, they're hard, but I try not to lose perspective of the fact that, you know, I'm one of the luckiest men on earth. I got a great family, got a great team, and I get to do a sport that I love every single day. And if that costs me money, if that costs me time, if that costs me my health, that's okay. I'm here for the journey.
No, your last time out, last amateur contest, you picked up a big TKO win, just over a minute, about 70 seconds. Made quick work, got the job done. Walk me through that finish. What were you seeing there before the finish?
Uh, So I fought a guy by the name of Parker Byers out of Tennessee, and he's a very very good striker. Had knocked out all of his opponents who he beat. I think he was 3-1 going into the contest, and as soon as we came out and we touched gloves, he threw a really hard right hand that I was able to pick up and parry. So you know, very early on, the game plan was to put him on his back, and we were very lucky to land the overhand right, get the snatch single, put him on his back, and then eventually the finish followed with being able to flatten him out and get the TKO from there.
When I look at your game, think back at some other very successful UFC heavyweights and MMA heavyweights. One of them that comes to my mind is Roy Nelson. Obviously a guy with amazing jiu-jitsu, is able to take his opponent down the mat. But if he's not careful, he can also end it with one punch. Who are some guys that maybe you look up to or try to emulate your style off of?
Yeah, I mean all the greats. I'm a historian of the sport a little bit, just from watching it from such a young age. My dad had me watching back in the Pride FC days. So guys like Mirko Krokop, Fedor Emelianenko, those are the guys that I really, really admire. Just the way they put the game together. They fought so hard. They fought anybody. They fought multiple times in a night. Those are the guys that I really look up to, as well as guys like Daniel Cormier, more new age guys like Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez, not just heavyweights who's got brooding power, but guys that can fight 5 rounds, guys that can go in there and set a pace and break people. Those are the styles that I really enjoy watching, and those are the styles that I feel fit for my game plan. So I try to emulate some of those things that they do that gave them their success.
One of your teammates, Malcolm Wellmaker, obviously a guy you mentioned, he's about to fight in the Contender Series. Big fight for him, obviously. But one thing that I've noticed with him, just because he's where he's at, he hasn't forgot about the end goals, try to get everyone the training, everyone success, team environment, family environment. But looking at him, looking at his run right now, obviously you guys are both signed with Jason House, both with Iridium. Do you get a lot of motivation after seeing him be so close?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Being there, uh, with him step by step in the journey, to see him go out and put himself on the line like he does. A lot of guys could be in his position and talk and pick fights and find easy fights, and he has the ability to get a highlight finish on anybody at his weight class, but he's went and done it against the very best competition that can be put in front of him. He hasn't handpicked easy fights or anything like that. So, I'm very proud of him for that, but also proud of the fact of the way he's grown as a person. He hasn't just grown as a fighter. He hasn't just grown as a martial artist. He's grown as a person. He's, become a leader in the gym, become a guy that everyone can look up to and be proud of. So, I'm very thankful to be a part of that journey. So, and in turn, that motivates you to work on your own goals and chase and try to find your own success. And I'm just very proud of him and very happy that I can be a part of it.
So you're taking on Brock Walker next Saturday. A guy with a lot of experience, been around for a while. What do you think of him as an opponent?
Um, I'm I'm very thankful that he took the fight. You know, and I respect him a great deal for it. I know he's been around the fight game for a long time. He's fought some bigger names, and I just look forward to testing myself against. You know, I don't like to say anything disrespectful or derogatory about my opponents. That's not the way I was raised, and if I did, it would come off as fake, fabricated. It's just not who I am. Um, I respect him a lot for coming in and taking the fight. I know anybody in this weight class has the opportunity to put somebody out with one punch. That's the excitement about heavyweight. I do feel confident in my preparation. I'm confident in my team, and I'm confident with the game plan that we've put together. And I'm confident we'll execute on July 20th. But
So you get a fight in your hometown of Augusta, Georgia. How awesome of a feeling is that for you when you were told this one was in Augusta? Did you say, tell Jared, tell your brother, yeah, I want to be on this card?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, they know for a fact I've been trying to fight in Augusta for a long time. I love my city. I love the people that are here. I love to be able to bring a showcase for them, to compete to the very best of my ability, to compete in front of, the families that I train with and the kids that I coach. Um, I think it's important for them to see me to go out there and make no excuses and compete as hard as I possibly can. And it's just been a long time coming, man. I haven't got to fight in Augusta in a long time, and it's been, I think, since 2019 was the last time that I fought in Augusta, and a lot of things have changed for me. A lot of things have went up and down, and I'm just so thankful that this is the opportunity. This is the place where I get to make my pro debut, and I make my professional debut. You know, on a card that my brother headlines. I made my MMA debut on a card that he headlined. I made my kickboxing debut on a card that he headlined, and now I make my professional debut on a card that he headlines. So that is probably the most important thing for me, and just a full circle thing that I'm so thankful for.
You get to fight on a card with 9 of your teammates, which is pretty crazy. I mean, I've never seen something like that before. It's kind of magical, to be honest with you. I asked your brother this question. I'll ask you it. when you're fighting with a bunch of teammates, is there kind of pros and cons to it? Pro, you guys are all together, you're all training together, but maybe the cons, depending on the results of some of your teammates before you fight, could that act as a distraction?
I think it could. I think it could if it was a different team. Um, I think uh, I think the culture that has been instilled in us, the discipline that's been instilled in us, I truly believe that regardless of what's going on around us, we'll execute at the very best of our abilities. And I know for a fact that you know all my guys on the card are ready. All my guys on the card are sharp, and they'll compete to the very best of their ability. They will leave it all in the cage. I have no doubt about that. And honestly, that's all I ask them to do. Um, and that's all that I'll ask of myself. You know, um, big thing is just being independent of outcomes. That's a that's our big thing is being independent of outcomes. Wins or losses, a dime a dozen. How you carry yourself, how you compete in that moment is the thing that my father asks of us. And at the end of the day, if all my guys do that, then we'll be successful. You know, and we don't measure the success in going 5-5 or 9-0 or whatever it is. Whatever the Lord has planned for that night. We carry ourselves. We compete to the very best of our ability. We represent ourselves, our name, and our gym well. Then it's a successful night.
In addition to fighting, do you plan to do any quartering that night as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will be in my brother's corner for sure. And I'll be in all my guys' corner that I can be in right up to my fight. I might not be able to be in Quincy's corner or Amanda's corner because I know they're pretty close to me, on the card wise. But I, again, I don't want the guys to think that my fight is more important than theirs. I'm 100% bought into their goals and their success. And if they keep me there and I can be there to offer advice, to offer water, to hold the spit bucket, whatever it is, I'll be there for them. I I take it very seriously. Being in the position to coach, it weighs very heavily on my mind and my heart, and I care very deeply about my teammates, each and every single one of them. So, any way that I can contribute to the success is what I'll do. Tonight.
What's the ultimate goal for you, man? What do you want to accomplish with this whole MMA career?
Man, just a big thing is to bring praise and honor and glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But that's the one thing, to walk with integrity and earn everything. I don't want to be a man who has to hang his head low and not be proud of the things that he's done. I want to be able to walk with my head high, my chest up, and proud of the way I fought, the way I competed, know that I did it in a clean way, know that I did it with all of my heart, with all of myself. And hopefully that that part right there, expending myself 100%, training, preparing as much as I possibly can, leads me to the top of the sport, being the number one heavyweight in the world, be pound for pound baddest man on the planet. That's the goal, but not at the expense of myself. Not at the expense of my family name or my gym's name. Um, really want to set a good example for the fighters that are coming behind me. And I coach kids classes, so it's very important to me that the kids see me compete at a high level, have success at a high level, hopefully. But even if I don't, if I come up short, whatever it is, they see that I carry myself with integrity and honor, and hopefully that inspires them to move up and do whatever they feel they chase in life.
I think there's one thing to say about your gym is all your fighters, anyone that I've interacted from there, they carry themselves very well. They stay true to themselves. You guys, even guys got like Malcolm, Quincy, your brother, they don't pretend to be someone they're not. And I think what's happening in the world of mixed martial arts today, and some say Conor McGregor started, but personality has been such a phenomenon in this whole world sport. You have guys putting on a facade, being characters, putting on an image in hopes that that will give them the title shot. That'll generate something for them. But, I can see for you, I can see for the rest of your team, you guys don't do that. You stay true and you stay humble. And do you feel like that's going to be a big part of your career?
Absolutely. I don't want to gain the whole world and lose my soul. That is anything that I could gain by, you know, selling myself out is not worth it to me. I started this sport because of my dad, and I started this sport because of my brothers. And to do anything like that, I feel would be, you know, a spit in their face and how much they've given me, how much they've done for me. So, I wouldn't say anything bad about the guys that do that kind of stuff. But I I think, like you said, for us, just genuine in our approach to the game is what we'll find most exciting. Uh, that that they can connect with fighters the most that way. So I'm very proud of my brother and Malcolm and Quincy and all the guys that are on the card. They're staying true to themselves. They're not trying to buy into the culture, the new age culture of mixed martial arts.
All right, Joel, last question for you, my man. In the perfect world, what goes down next Saturday in Augusta, Georgia when you take on Brock Walker?
Just a perfect execution of the game plan. A, a bloody, violent fight with elbows, knees, punches, kicks, everything showcase with my skill set, and then both men walking out safely back to their family. But we're gonna leave blood in the cage.
All right, well, Joel, I wish you nothing but the best. I wish your teammates nothing but the best, and look forward to seeing you in Augusta a week from Saturday, my man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Joel Faglier. I'm Carlo Prusa. Stick around.